So the Booker Prize is going to be announced tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So I need to make my predictions so I can post this before the winner gets announced to see if I was right. Spoiler alert, I'm never right, but we'll see. I have now read 5 out of 6 books on the International Booker shortlist, and let's run through what I thought. Today I finished A Leopard Skin Hat. This book is about a man's relationship with a childhood friend who is suffering from mental health issues. It is a very detached writing style. It is in third person, but it is done in a really unique way. The main narrator refers to himself as narrator. I found that towards the end of this book, the last 3 chapters, the way it depicts mental health is extremely realistic and heartbreaking, and I cried. It is by far my favorite that I've read out of the shortlist, although I do have a lot of favorites, but this is definitely my favorite. Perfection by Vincenzo Latronico. I wasn't the biggest fan of this book. This is about a couple that moved to Berlin. They are expats. I found that the couple in this were kind of insufferable. I think I'm alone in thinking that. I haven't seen anyone else that kind of shares the same sentiments that I do. But I really didn't enjoy the main characters. They constantly were nostalgic for an earlier time. They never seemed to be happy with what they had. They were very cynical people. I understand that's probably the point. That's kind of the whole point of the story, is social media and the world's desire to be seen and heard and liked. I mean, I'm doing it right now in just the act of talking about books online. It is the whole point of the novel. It is a really interesting take on social media, but it didn't hit for me. Small Boat by Vincent de la Croix. Now, I think this will win the Booker Prize. A boat capsizes in between the French and English Channel. It is carrying 27 migrants, including women and children, and they all passed away. This is a really detached narration style. It is in the narration style of the lady who took the distress signals, the distress calls, and she did not want to help at all, it seems. This really shone a light on just how detached and disinterested and desensitized the human population has become. I think it's a really important book, and it was really well written. Under the Eye of the Big Bird was a really interesting novel about AI and the way the world is going, the way the world is currently. I couldn't grasp onto everything that was in the first 100 plus pages. It only kind of started to make sense at the end. So for that reason, this isn't high on my rankings, but it's still a fantastic read, and it's very pertinent to the current state of the world. When I first read On the Calculation of Volume by Solveig Bell, I thought this was it. This is the winner. It is about a woman who wakes up and repeats the same day over and over again. It is confusing, repetitive, in the best ways. I feel like as a collective, now looking at all the books, I don't think this will necessarily win. I think it's fantastic and unique in its own right, but it just doesn't feel like the winner. I didn't get the chance to read Heartlamp. I just could not find a copy for the life of me. So I unfortunately have not been able to read that for the shortlist. So I'm not going to take that into account for my prediction for the winners and my overall ranking. From least favorite to my predicted winner, it is Perfection by Vincenzo Latronico. This is the one I liked the least. Just found the characters quite insufferable. Then I would say Under the Eye of the Big Bird. Once I reached the end, it was a really interesting book, but I just feel like it wasn't enough to kind of make up for the confusion for the first 100 or so pages. Next, I will say On the Calculation of Volume. I personally love this book. I think it's fantastic, unique, kind of made me look at the world in a different light. The next book is Small Boat, and my pick for the winner is A Leopard Skin Hat. obviously a fantastic book. I loved reading the International Booker Prize shortlist, and I plan to keep this going for the Booker Prize long list when it comes out. This is such a fun personal challenge for me. I have such a good time, and I always find some brilliant books that I wouldn't have necessarily picked up on my own. So I definitely recommend doing a personal challenge for yourself.